What is up? Metal Gets Me High, episode 28. Got me, Al, co host Razor, and we have special
Yo,
guests. We've got Evan from the band Morbid Visionz. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, y'all?
Hey, man.
just chilling.
Congrats on the recent release of the EP via Maggot Stomp. Uh, Cycle of Cessation. Absolutely killer. It's something I'd been kind of hearing about for a little bit of time, and
Yeah,
uh, it delivered, man. And anytime like anything's associated with Maggot Stomp, I feel like you got a pretty good idea of what you're gonna get, and you're part of that roster now.
for sure. Yeah, I know that. Whenever you had Stan on, one of y'all, I think it was you, had mentioned
Yeah,
you'd heard the demo before, which was I thought that was awesome. Y'all were all the
Yeah.
way out in California, so I was like, hell yeah, it's made it that far. So,
Hey,
but
it's reaching, man. It's making its way across.
yeah, it's cool. But yeah, we put that out and doing the whole thing with Maggot sounds pretty cool. It's a little surreal because um, a lot of my favorite releases over the last few years have been on Maggot Stomp. So it's really an honor to be putting this out, via that lane. And Scott's been real chill about it, and it's an honor to say the least. I mean, I'm glad y'all are enjoying it. I hope everyone else that's checking it out is enjoying it. So.
Oh
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
It
I listened to because me and Al were just talking about this. I had listened to the demo, when it first came out, and I didn't put two and two together until I was driving home, and I was like, oh shit, I've heard that. I've heard them. I know I have. I was like, so I'm like, I even when I didn't know who you guys were, essentially, I was like, okay, yes, I'm. This is my shit right here.
Yeah, the demo and the EP are a little bit different from each other for sure. In sound, I feel like the demo is a lot faster. It's a lot more like death thrash with like some like almost like some entombed esque riffs in there and stuff like that.
yeah,
Whereas on this one we kind of changed it up a little bit. It's still fast, but it's a lot more mid tempo, like more bolt thrower kind of riffs, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's funny because the very first song on the EP was originally supposed to go on the demo, but
okay.
I just felt like it didn't fit on the demo at all. So we ended up just saving it. So it made its way to being the intro track on the EP. So
Well, you
That's
guys
sick.
nailed it. Yeah.
And I liked that, like, you mentioned how they're both different, your demo versus the EP, because you're right. I feel like obviously like you have some uh Sepultura influence just based on the artwork and
mhm.
the overall thrashiness of it, and then this EP came out, you're right, like more death metal, and
Yeah.
I was like, that's a cool progression,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
Sepultura is one of those entryway bands that are very formative for a lot of bands over time. So
Yeah.
I think that was like a cool nod too.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, with our name, I mean, Chaos AD is probably like one of the first death metal records that like really that sunk my teeth into probably. And there's definitely there's a newer song that we're putting out on a split at some point that we just wrote, and we take a pretty big nod to some Chaos AD type stuff on that, without going to just uh, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, just too like beat downy sounding or something, but
Okay,
you know what I
I know
mean.
what you mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
like that
So
more technical sound, and
yeah.
I find myself liking that more raw sound myself personally, just because I think that's what makes death metal
Hmm.
is not
Yeah.
being clean.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, we tried. I didn't, and that was a big thing on the EP. So we had Ryan Bram. He mixed it, and he did like the last Creeping Death
Okay,
LP. I think he produced all of that. He did the last couple of Gate Creeper records. He did the Terminal Nation Cruelty Split. He did the Terminal Nation LP. He's done a few other things, and I really really liked the sound. And that was one thing I didn't want to do was like overproduce it and keep some
yeah,
raw element to the
Yeah.
EP. I think we got that sound like it's clean, but it still has grit to it. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Ryan understood the assignment, so.
And just
He nailed it.
that list of releases that you named off the top of your head, all really good releases, and they all have that that sound that's dirty, but it sounds refined. So
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think he really captured you guys on that release, and
Yeah,
that's props to for even making getting that detail of picking the right person.
for sure. Yeah, yeah. It was once I heard the Eternal Nation Cruelty split, it was like I
Yeah.
was already leaning that way because of the other Eternal Nation LP. I really liked the way that came out and everything else. But once I heard those tracks on that split, I was like, yeah, we're going with him. Like he can get the gritty sound, but it still comes out sounding good, and people are gonna like listen to it and be able to distinguish what's going on, but still has a raw sound. So.
Hell yeah.
For sure. How did your band form? Being that you guys are really new.
So, um, basically, we've all known each other for a long time. I've played in bands with everyone in this band, previously, other than Andrew, who's one of our guitar players.
Okay.
Um, me and our drummer Xiaomi and our other guitar player Josh, who us three like started the band. We had started some other projects like in the past and played in projects together in the past, and it was always for like a few years. It was always we would start something with the idea of like some type of metal, whether it be death metal or something more along the lines of like Machine Head or something like
Okay.
that. Um, and like I think the very first thing we started, uh, probably like 6 years ago, that ended up not doing anything. It was like our biggest influence was like Burn My Eyes, Machine Head, and
Okay.
Chaos OD. So it was just gonna be really like just,
Riffs.
bouncy, heavy riffs, stuff like that. And then we'd always come up with these ideas. We'd jam for a bit and then just like, all right, whatever. This one just finally stuck.
Okay.
It was like during the pandemic, probably like 2020. Uh, we were pretty much just like talking about it, and Xiaomi's dad, we would go over and hang out and drink in Xiaomi's kitchen like probably every other night because we didn't have anything else to do.
Yeah.
And Xiaomi's dad was like, "Yo, y'all have all this expensive, badass music gear in here, and y'all aren't fucking using it. Like, what's up with that?" And Xiaomi was just kind of like, "Yeah, you're right." And we all kind of started talking, and like, Josh was like, "Yeah, I mean, we keep talking about starting a death metal band. Like, what's up with that?" And we're just like, "Fuck it, yeah, let's do it." And so we started writing some songs. Josh started writing some songs and stuff. We didn't really think much about it. He sent us like a Google Drive with like 3 songs demoed out, and
Oh
I was
shit.
like, "Okay, these are cool." Like it was TFB, Mortal Wreck, and another song that we don't play at all anymore. And
Okay.
it was kind of more in the vein of like what Mortal Reclamation sounds like with that entombed riff in it and stuff like that. It had like some like real like heavy Sepultura vibes in it too. And yeah, we just started jamming here and there, and then me and Xiaomi got busy with work, and then I don't even. One day it was just like, "Hey guys, we gonna do this or not?" And then pretty much that's what happened. Like right when shows started coming back, um, a dude who does a fest here called Mutants of the Monsters, CT. He played in a
Okay.
band called Wake from here. He plays in
Yeah.
Deadbird. He was asking us if the band would be ready, and I was like, maybe. I was like, I mean, if we can find another guitar player, then yeah, because it originally started with me playing guitar and doing vocals, and I decided
Okay.
Oh shit.
I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
I was like, I'd rather just like front the band and not have the responsibility of having have to do all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So
Understandable.
yeah, I mean, I've just always wanted to just solely just front a band and not, it just be that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we ended up finding a dude to play guitar for us. His name was Shane. He was in the band for a little bit, but that's basically, and our buddy Ted hopped in on bass. Me, him, and Stan used to be in a band together back in the
Okay.
day. I think Stan mentioned Jungle Juice when he was on with
Yeah.
y'all.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, so we were all in that band together. I kind of joined a little bit later after they had some member changes, and I was just with them from the very beginning. They're like, it only makes sense if you play for us. I was like, yeah, let's do it. So we did that. So me and Ted have had history with all that stuff. Ted and I have toured together a lot. And so we got that lineup, and then we went through a few guitar players, and we landed on Andrew finally, and he's been with us since. I mean, we haven't been a band that long, but the first show he played with us, I think, was Frozen Soul.
Oh shit!
Back in like maybe like last December or something. So something like
sick.
that. Yeah, so I guess he's stuck with us for a minute now. Everyone else would be with us for like, we only had 2 other guitar players, and they were with us for like a show or 2, and then they'd be like, I can't do this anymore. So yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much the origin of how it happened. It was just boredom over pandemic, and then and then we got like, you know, just kind of threw ourselves into like, all right, let's do it. So
yeah, that's so dope how it kind of just started off as you guys fucking around, then you guys like, all right, are we doing this or what?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, Josh just kept firing songs at us, and we're like, all right, let's, you know.
You're like, all right, we got
to do this.
Fuck it.
Yeah. So
well, that's it, because it even sounds like, and you know, when we talked to Stan, we got to know a little bit about your guys' scene, and like it sounds like you got a pretty good scene if you got, you know, different members available from different bands, kind of filling in here and there. And you know, like I wouldn't ever consider Arkansas to be like a metal place off the top of my head, and you know, it sounds like you guys got a heck of a scene, and you know, that banging in the rock fest you guys got going over there, that is like such a sick lineup. I can't tell you how
I want to go so bad.
Yeah. Hey, y'all, come on out. Like, you know, we got people coming in from all over the place, and we're really lucky to be able to do it. Stan and I, like Stan mentioned, in his, you know, he's been booking shows in Central Arkansas for a long time. I've been booking shows in Central Arkansas for a long time. I've done a couple fests as like previous that were more just like hardcore oriented and stuff like that. With like some metal and stuff here and there mixed in. And I just, you know, I just trashed those, and then finally we were just like, yo, let's do something like cool for the city, and that's pretty much just how it came to be. So we're very fortunate for it to be happening, and we're fortunate to have like a venue who's just down to do it. And you know, like I feel like there's places where stuff like this just can't happen. You know, just for whatever reason. But I think we've had enough people coming through in the last few months and over the last year. They've heard whispers about how cool shows in Little Rock have been. So it's kind of helped facilitate that a little bit. So
Little Rock is booming right now. You guys got some stuff coming out of there.
Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, being from here, we've had a struggle because it's not always been a hotbed for anything.
Yeah.
So whether it's playing a hardcore band, playing a shoegaze band, playing a metal band, like whatever, it's not easy being in a band from here or being a promoter from here for that. I've lost my ass on tons of shows. So
I feel that.
Gotta fall, unfortunately, to then you learn from that, and I hope that fest kills it. Man, like I think the band that's like the most wild card that I see in that lineup is Maul. I want to see Maul so bad. I think they're on top of all the other bands, but like that was the one where I was like, man, that's a good find right there.
They were, for us, it was a no-brainer. They'd played here. Stan booked them back, I think it was like in January, and we played that show with them, and like they just instantly became the dudes. So it's like, like the second we started playing this, we're like, Maul's got to come play. So like them and Rising Shadows, like they were two of the first bands we asked to come and play. So
nice. Yeah, Seraphic Punishment is one of my favorite albums to be out this year. It's so good.
It's so good. I knew, I knew once that record was gonna drop, like it was gonna be a great thing for them, and it was. It seems like a lot of people really dig it. It's an easy record to get into. It doesn't matter what you listen to. I think if like just some punk kid picked up that record, it would get them into death metal. You know what I mean? So
I couldn't agree more.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
So
how did you? Go ahead, Razor.
I was gonna ask you, what's what's your favorite venue you've played so far? Because I know you mentioned a couple of venues you played in Little Rock. What's the like your most memorable or most favorite that you played?
So in Little Rock, so one of it was, I mean, it was in like our first 10 shows. We got to open whenever Soulfly and 200 Stab Wounds was doing that tour.
Oh,
Okay.
shit, that's so dope.
Yeah, we opened that show at this place called The Hall. It's like a newer venue here, and the sound is fucking amazing. And
Okay.
so we went in there, and we were a little intimidated just because it's a huge stage. Before we played that show, we only had 4 songs. We literally had 10 minutes worth of music. Our demo is 5 minutes. So we had 10 minutes worth of music. Now, like, yeah, y'all have a 30-minute slot. And so we had all the songs for the EP. We had them demoed out already.
Mm-hmm.
And literally we just were like, well, I guess we're going to learn all these songs now. So that's when we just literally just like pushed through it, started learning all those songs that are on the EP. And it put us like right at like 26 minutes worth of music with all the other old songs too.
Okay.
So
oh, hell yeah.
we did that, and that was probably one of the coolest shows and venue that we've done so far. Other than like, you know, the venue at Snow and Flurry that we played in Minneapolis, that venue was really cool. It reminded me of where we're doing Banging in the Rock here. It's kind of like I don't know, it's just about 550 cap room.
Okay, that's a big room.
The hall is like a 1,500 cap room, so it's like
shit.
just huge. But it was really cool. The sound there is amazing. And whenever I heard the videos back from us playing there, I was just like, holy fuck, like, you know, like, I think that's whenever we figured out that we were doing something right with tone and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. Like, you know, we could hear ourselves. It was cool. So yeah.
Hell yeah.
Like to play like, you know, with 200 and Soulfly and I think you mentioned Frozen Soul earlier. Like, those are, you know, those are certainly bands that'll, I feel like, elevate you. You got to, you know, you're going to be like, dude, I got to play good. These guys are good too. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. We've played with Frozen Soul twice, and I like playing with them because like they're just they're like super chill. Like being around them, it's just like they have like a craft and they hone it in very well, and just like being able to watch them is just like one of the coolest things ever because their tone, like Chad's vocals are evil as fuck.
They are.
Like, yeah. It's just like playing with them wasn't even like, you know, it was just cool. Like it wasn't nerve-wracking or anything, you know. They're just some of the nicest people in the world, and they're just like, oh, yo, y'all are playing too sick. Like, let's talk and hang out and stuff. So,
hell yeah, it's down to earth. It sounds like.
Exactly, yeah. We come from close scenes too. Like, you know, Little Rock's only like 5 hours from Dallas, so me and Ted,
that's not far.
Yeah, we used to go down to shows down there all the time, so we've crossed paths.
Okay.
With at least Chad, you know, like with his old bands and stuff like that. He was playing in a band a long time ago called Vulgar Display. I booked them and stuff. So like we definitely crossed paths before. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. That's we had a chance to watch Frozen Soul with Undeath, Chelsea Grin, and Dying Fetus.
Yeah,
Fetus. And dude, because I had listened to Frozen Soul just like a handful of times before I got there, and I was like, okay, they're cool. But when we watched them, I was like, holy shit, this is a fucking band right here.
Yeah.
What stood out was there's a dude in the bathroom drunk, and he's like, you know, I didn't like Frozen Soul, but seeing them live right now, they're fucking good. And I was like, you know what? Like that says a lot about a band, like where somebody's like, I didn't like this shit, but I'm wrong.
You watch them live. Yeah, you're wrong about that.
Yeah, no, for sure. They are that band, you know, like I feel like if someone for some reason, if their recordings don't translate to you for some reason, seeing them live is just like they have what's the word I'm looking for? They have the I can't even think of what I'm trying to think of right now. They got the
No, you're
look,
good.
like they
Yeah,
got the I can't think of the word.
The
I'm
presence.
like,
They have they have that stage presence, like
yeah.
yeah,
the lighting, the
yeah,
the look
everything.
of
Yeah,
them. Everything is
A
just
big
like aesthetically
cane
pleasing.
mic stand that
yeah.
Chad has.
So the first time I ever saw them, so first time I saw them was at Vinos, but second time I saw them, they
Okay.
played the Evil Beat pre-show. So the last Evil Beat that there was, they played the pre-show, and
Okay.
it was like them and Chris's other band, Still Bearing Hand, and Skeleton played, and like a few other bands. It was a stacked show, and they had like all the snow and stuff going. They had the fog going. They had like it was like lasers, but it was like the imprinted like snowflakes like going everywhere and shit.
Oh shit,
So like
that's
yeah, they were
dope.
doing it all. And it was fucking tight. So
And Chad, he's a big dude too. Like
yeah,
him being up there, he's like a mighty presence
yeah,
up
yeah,
on stage.
yeah, yeah, and Chad's super nice too, and yeah, he's just like I love his vocals too. Like uh, it's just like it's kind of like the vocal style like I've been trying to work on honing in. It's kind of like that bolt thrower esque. Like it's more of like a I don't know, just kind of like
A breathy kind of like
exact yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So
It's dope.
yeah, so
Here,
but yeah,
sorry, I got
go
a
ahead.
pretty good question in the chat that I see. That says, why do you think there's more violence in hip hop music versus death metal? None of the groups have beef with one another.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess that's true. I mean, like, well, so like that, and that's so okay. I grew up, so I grew up going to like hardcore shows, stuff like that.
Yeah,
So I got into death metal via hardcore. Basically hanging out with the older hardcore dudes who had already like kind of like been like, oh, I don't like hardcore anymore. I'm going to death metal or I'm going to stoner metal or whatever, whatever
yeah,
avenue they decide to take. And them being like, yo, check out Obituary or check out Carcass or what the fuck ever. And so whenever I started listening to all that stuff, um, I noticed that like, whenever you go to a metal show, it's like everyone's just there to just fucking rock the fuck out. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
like there's
It's
no
like a
egos,
release.
there's nothing. It's super chill. Where in hardcore sometimes it gets a little clicky.
Okay.
It can be a little like I don't know, more cool guy esque. People have I don't know. People like hold themselves above people a lot. I feel like, and I like whenever I started going to metal shows and stuff, I realized quickly everyone's just there to just hang out and drink beer and fucking headbang like
Yeah,
There's because I've been to both metal and hip hop shows, and there's a camaraderie at metal shows that like is unmatched.
yeah,
well, yeah,
You'll be standing there next to a completely random stranger and just headbanging with them, fucking chilling with them. And at a rap show, you don't get that like camaraderie. It's not
yeah,
like that same
yeah.
type of thing. Yeah,
I've
yeah.
I've definitely spent my fair share going to, like hip hop shows and stuff around here, um, and yeah, it's like people. It's very cliquish as well too. I
Yeah,
mean that's just how
yeah.
it is. We're in death metal or like just any type of metal across the board. Doesn't matter. Just going to a metal show, I feel like
yeah,
everyone's more open armed. Like like let's hang out. Let's do this. Like whatever. So
yeah.
There,
I think part
I've
of it
been.
is like
Go ahead.
it's kind of an exclusive club to some extent. It's like, hey, we like this really niche thing that not very many
yeah,
people like or understand. And we're from different parts of like in the Bay Area where we go to a lot of our shows. There's a lot of different diversity because the Bay Area is a rich place but also a poor place.
right.
Um, so I think part of that is just like it's a scene thing where it's like, hey, like we like something that's kind of weird, but that's cool. Like
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's kick it. Let's watch this sick ass band.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and that's how it is here as well. We have the metal scene here is pretty. It's been around for a long time. Like I feel like when people think of low rock, like they don't think of like death metal or anything. They think of like more like doom or sludge or like stoner rock or
Yeah,
something.
because of like Paul Bear
Yeah,
is probably the
exactly.
biggest band out of Arkansas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, we have them. We've got Deadbird. There's Wake. You know, I've like, you know, we've all gone to those shows and stuff, and
Yeah,
it's just like those shows. It's just everyone's just there for a good time and hanging out and stuff. Like, you
yeah.
know, that's just how it goes. So, yeah, that's one thing that I definitely enjoy about, you know, just going to metal shows and stuff like that. So everyone's very welcoming. When we played that Soulfly show, like if people just like came, they're just buying merch from us and being stupid nice. So like, you know, that was pretty cool.
I think that's
That's
another
the
thing. Like I can't tell you how much I love going to a show and just being able to get a tea. Like I think that's the funnest part of going to the shows sometimes
and
is
what's even better about than that is not knowing what band is on before, like you never heard of them, and you're
Mhm.
like, I'm gonna go buy one of their shirts right now. They
Yeah.
fucking
they won
blew
me
it out of the
over.
water. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think if I've had one of those like experiences recently. Um I can't think off the top of my head, but I definitely know like I've gone to a show for, you know, A band and then B band and I was like, "Oh, fuck." Like, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, I had an experience like that at that fetus show where, like, you know, I definitely like deathcore, but like,
Yeah.
there's certain deathcore that I like, and
Right.
Chelsea Grin was never a band that I had ever like
I got
explored.
their hat right here from that show.
I just casually heard them, but then seeing them live, I'm like, dude, these guys are fucking sick. Like,
Yeah.
fucking, I should have checked them out, but I just, you know, there's just so much good stuff out there that you kind of try to find the stuff that you gravitate towards. So I know what you mean. Where I feel like
Yeah.
that going on Bandcamp and always trying to find more underground stuff, it's hard for me to like on a bill be like, oh, I've never heard of this band. It's more like, oh, I've heard of them, but I just for whatever reason slept on them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, that definitely happens to me. I feel like bands definitely like I like to leave it up to them a lot more live because I can't listen to
Yeah,
every single band ever, you know.
yeah,
So if I have a chance to see a band that I know like I've come across, then I like this weekend we played Snow and Flurry up in
mm-hmm.
Minneapolis, and there was probably a good 10 bands that I know have come across my radar that I've just like not ever listened to just because I'm just always listening to music and like it sounds like I should be able to listen to them, but like I'm always absorbing myself in so much music that sometimes I'm just not getting to that one band I want to get to because
Yeah.
I find this band instead and then go down that rabbit hole. But I was like, yeah, this weekend, like there was like probably 10 of those bands that I finally got the chance to like see, and I'm glad I saw them instead of like listening to them first. So
Okay.
yeah,
So then you have a point of reference, like when you do listen. I'm like, okay, I remember that
yeah,
shit.
exactly, yeah, yeah. So
How did you get into heavy music? Like, where was your start? Like, you
um
mentioned it was more hardcore. How did you come into hardcore?
so you know, I feel like this happens with a lot of people that probably grew up skating and stuff.
Okay.
Probably
Yeah, I've
just
heard that a lot.
finding heavy music from a skate video and then it kind of going from there. Um, and like I started out listening to like a lot of punk and stuff, like listening to like the Misfits and shit like that, and then it kind of like grew into going like eventually like I mean, so I'm from Conway, which
Okay.
is I live in Little Rock now, but I'm from Conway, which is about 30 minutes north of Little Rock. So my exposure to being able to go to like bigger shows was very limited. So once I found a friend who like was able to drive me out here, that's kind of when it all started. And
Okay.
I would go to like go to hardcore and metalcore shows and shit whenever I was like younger and stuff like that. And then just like as time went on, like I started like reaching, you know, branching out because most of the time, all the hardcore that I really liked, I gravitated toward like the more metallic stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like stuff like I don't know if y'all ever heard of like Creatures or like Downpressor and stuff like that. Like
Okay, I've heard
a
of
lot of
Downpressor.
California bands,
Hmm.
honestly, and stuff like that. But like shit like that was just a little more metallic and had like a like more like thrashy feel or like almost a death metal feel in some instances. Um, And then like so it basically took me just like hearing one note of death metal, and then like that I was like, oh, this is where this came from. I understand now. So like I think like first couple like death metal records I picked up like right after I graduated high school. I grabbed like Frozen in Time by Obituary and
Great one.
Chaos AD and probably like Heartwork or something. There's like somewhere in there. There was like those
Yeah.
records, and I like picked those up first, and then like, yeah, that's pretty much chronologically how it happened, and I've just I'm still into everything I've always been into. You know, I just keep adding to the catalog. So like, I mean,
Yeah.
I listen to everything. Like I go to country shows all the time. You know,
Oh
like,
shit.
you know, I listen to it all. So
Hell yeah, you're diverse.
yeah,
And
yeah.
you know what? That's cool because I bet you that helps with creating your music because you have a lot of different venues to pull from or avenues to pull from, you know.
Yeah, I find it nice to be into other things, especially like country, because I can take a break from heavy shit. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
Al,
whenever.
what do you always say?
Sometimes I don't want to get yelled at.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. So like sometimes like I'll just like I'll be listening like just pummeling death metal records for a week straight or like whatever, and I'm just like, okay, I need to like cleanse my palate, and like I'll throw on like Turnpike Troubadours or like my homie Nick Shoulders or something like that, and just like listen to that for like the rest of the week, and then like I'll come back to it. But I think with writing it helps because I feel like if you listen to the same stuff a lot, um, it becomes hard to because like sometimes like I'll like write riffs and stuff for Morbid Visions and
Yeah.
send them to everyone. Like if I'm just feeling it. And sometimes I feel like if I'm listening to the same shit over and over, I'll like pick up the guitar and start writing like, well fuck, that sounds like this like Morbid Angel song or some shit. Like can't use that or like, this sounds like that riff. So I'll like, you can cleanse your palate, come back and be like, okay, this doesn't sound like anything I've listened to in the last week. We're good. Something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
What are? Go ahead, Rizzo.
no, I was no, go ahead. I was just gonna just say that like that's a great palate cleanser. You know,
Yeah.
trying to you know get away from it is probably beneficial.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. What's this? How long did the EP take for you guys to make? Because I mean, you guys really flew by because you guys just released a demo.
Yeah. So, like I mentioned, pretty much the whole EP was written. So we released the demo in January, I think,
Okay.
or maybe February.
Yeah, I think it's on Bandcamp. It said February.
February. Okay. So yeah, we released like the same week we played that show with Maul.
Okay.
We played. I don't know if y'all have heard of Brat before or
I've
come
heard of
across
Brad.
them. Yeah, so they rule. We played the day we played a house show with them. We dropped our demo, and
Oh shit. Okay.
so that demo came out in February. We played the Soulfly show probably the next month. So by that time next month, we were already playing all the songs on the EP
Okay.
because like we already had them demoed out. So we've been playing these songs for a while before we even were able to get into the studio, which was actually very helpful because we knew exactly how we wanted them to sound by the time we got in the studio. And I had been able to mess with like vocal melodies and all that stuff like live and just like, practicing for, you know, 4 shows. So like once we got in the studio, it was pretty much we already knew what was going on. We went to the studio in I think May, tracked it, and then we sent it off for mixing, and we did quite a few remixes and stuff because like
Okay.
there's very very specific sound we were wanting. So like us and Ryan went back and forth a bit on that. I think we finally got the masters back in end of July or August, and then once we got back, I emailed them to Scott, um, and then yeah, that was that. So pretty much like we've been sitting on it for a minute, pretty much,
Okay.
and just like kind of waiting. So It's yeah. So we luckily already had it all demoed out. We played it for a while, finally recorded it, and then it has now finally come out like months later.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's been out long enough for us to already started on the LP. So
oh damn.
Oh
Okay,
well, hell
that's
yeah!
quick.
So you've got some stuff already in the
oh yeah,
mix.
yeah,
Hell
yeah.
yeah!
And
Oh
then
shit!
I had seen you're gonna be playing filling in bass for Terminal Nation, right? Was that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. How's that been going?
So I haven't started learning the
Shout out
songs.
Stan.
So Chase, so Stan hit me up pretty much anytime that Stan thinks Chase can't do something, he hits me up and he's like, "Hey, do you think you could fill in on like this show or whatever?" And I'm always
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, of course. Just like let me know what's up and I'll start learning the songs." Well, then he's usually like, "Well, never mind. It's not. Don't worry about it. It's all good." And so Stan was like, "I think you're gonna need to play like the next like 6 shows for us." I was like, "Okay, cool.
Ooh.
Like, that's fine." Um, and then Chase had his MRI like this past Monday, I think, and I guess everything's looking a lot better than it was.
Oh,
So
good.
I think I might still be playing Act Like You Know with them in Oklahoma City. But other than that, I think he's going to be able to do all the other shows.
Okay,
Okay.
that's good.
Sam's supposed to be letting me know if I need to start learning the songs or not. So it's still kind of in limbo right now. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much like I've always been like the fill-in bass player for bands always.
Okay.
So anytime someone's needed someone to like play bass for them, they're like, "Hey, Evan, can you do it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." Like
Oh
whatever.
hell yeah! How long have you been playing bass for?
Playing bass.
Yeah.
So so I play guitar, and I've only ever played actual guitar in one band, but I've played bass in like a million other bands
That's
because
awesome.
like it's like one of those things where everyone's like, "Well, like we can't find a bass player," and I'm just like, I'll do it, like So I've been playing bass and guitar and stuff for like I'm 30, so I probably started when I was like 15 or 16 or something, maybe
Okay.
before then. Started playing I started playing guitar and then eventually just fell into the role of playing bass. So, which is it's fine. Bass is fun and stuff. But yeah, I've always considered myself more of a guitar player. But I've just never been needed as a guitar player apparently. So
Okay.
You're like, I'll pick up the bass. I don't mind.
yeah, it's whatever. It's all relative. So
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Well, we'll start winding it down. I've only got two more things. One is, how does metal get you high?
I think more like so more so in that it's like for me performing like being in a band
Okay.
that performs is something that like just like completely like whenever I'm on stage I'm not thinking about anything else, and like with it being metal it's just like such like a cool thing of it's like it's aggressive and I can be just like something a little bit different than like whenever I'm just like out in the crowd and walking around or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's like one thing for sure. Um, it's but other than that, like whenever the thing like about metal that just kind of like I would say like clear like gives me something more is like I hate pop culture like 1,000%. Like I hate all of it. Like hate the
Yeah. I feel
Kardashian
that.
shit. I hate like the Real Housewives. I like all that like all this shit like all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Like I hate it, and
I'm
I
with
don't
you there,
know.
brother.
I don't know why people watch it or anything like that. So I love that metal is such a counterculture to that. It's just like it's great, just like being a part of something that, for the most part, people just don't care about any of that. Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's metal
nobody will give
dudes.
it the time of day, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like there's metal dudes who I can go up to and be like, "Oh yeah, did you hear what fucking Kim K did last week?" And they're like, "Who the fuck is that?" I'm like,
but
"That's
fucking thank you.
that's why I want to have a conversation with you right now." So so I think it's like it's just like one of those things that just like it's just it's a nice getaway from reality for sure. So
I like that.
Yeah.
I definitely agree that it's cool. Just like wearing for me, it's as simple as like wearing a band T-shirt where it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope somebody sees this and like, what the hell is that? And
yeah.
looks at it or maybe likes it, or they're like, what? Maybe they show it to people as a joke, like, look at this fucking shit.
There was one of y'all's episodes I was listening to. I don't remember which one it was, but you're saying you're wearing some shirt, and then like you
Oh
saw
yeah. I was
someone
wearing
else.
a Gate Creeper shirt at Universal
Yeah.
Studios, and it's a pretty out there shirt. It's like 7 demons cutting into a body.
Yeah.
And then I saw a dude wearing a Cryptopsy shirt, and like we didn't say anything to each other, but we're like,
You just gave the
get
nod.
It's like,
Yeah.
you know
Yeah,
what's up.
Yeah, no, for
If
sure.
you
Yeah.
know, you know.
That's sick. It's cool. It's like I've also gone the opposite end though, where like I've said something to somebody about shirt, and they didn't know what the fuck I was talking about.
Oh, that's
like,
the worst. You're like, oh, damn, I
Yeah.
shouldn't have came up to you. My bad.
I was telling Ramon the other day, like with my T-shirt collection, I really had to think. I'm like, do I have a single shirt where like if somebody was like, hey, name 3 songs, and the only one that I had trouble with, I was like, I got a Bathory T-shirt, and I promise you, I can't name a Bathory song outside of the first Bathory album. So that's where you would get me.
Fair. All right. Yeah. And like another thing that I find really funny is like, so like obviously, like people really want to like imitate like the metal culture, like whether it be like rappers like making death metal font, or one thing I've seen is country artists that I like with like there's this band I listen to called American Aquarium, and they have like a very like black metal-esque like shirt. And I asked them, like I was like, oh, they know what's up. They didn't know what.
No, they didn't. Oh,
like what?
If they would have known, they would have been my new favorite fucking country artist.
Yeah.
But goddamn.
Yeah, they didn't. It's like, they just had someone like, who probably knew what was up designing for them. And like, it's fine.
I want to talk to the guy that made the shirt.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, it's the falsies out there. So
it happens. And then the last thing I have, if somebody came up to and asked, like, hey, I kind of want to get into heavy music, what 3 albums or maybe bands would you point them to be like, you know what, like this is a good entrance, and if you like this, you could kind of move on to what you end up liking?
So I think so. We've talked quite a few times, or at least a few times, about Chaos AD. I think that's probably other than like Roots, that's probably one of the easiest Sepultura records just to like pick up, digest. Like it's
agreed.
It's it's just heavy. Like if someone who's just into heavy music, like someone like Slipknot, or they like Machine Head, it's like, if you like Machine Head, you're probably already listening to Sepultura. Like,
100%.
What I mean?
That Venn diagram definitely intersects.
Yeah. So I'd go Chaos AD. After that, it's like, I think Wolverine Blues by Entombed is a pretty easy record to get into.
Agreed. There's the guitar work on that album.
Yeah, it's a very like mellow, like compared to like Left Hand Path and Clandestine and stuff. Like it's more digestible for sure. Like I think it's more of a groovy record. It's and then people get the gist of it, and then hopefully go back and listen to everything from there. And then number 3, I'm torn between like either Carcass or Bolt Thrower.
Either one.
Yeah.
I think Heartwork is a pretty good record to like give someone.
That was one of my first death metal albums.
Was it? Cool.
Yeah, it was the guitar.
Dreams is like one of the easiest songs to just like immediately just like dive into. And I think there's nothing like crazy. It's like vocally it stays pretty normal.
Yeah.
Pace stays pretty normal, stuff like that. So I think that would be a pretty good one as well. And then I'm gonna throw a bonus one in there. I would definitely go a
Yeah.
Bolt Thrower record for sure. Like
Fuck
maybe like
yeah.
Mercenary or something. I don't know. Either that or
Anything bolt thrower.
yeah. The earlier records might be a little bit harder for someone to get into, just because of like the production.
Oh,
But like
yeah.
I think any of the later records, like for those ones loyal or something like that, like it's pretty easy to get into. Like, you know, it's just, you know, mid tempo. It gets a little fast. Like the riffs are there. Like if someone's into like Soulfly, have never really like gone into like self-tours, like, yo, well, if you like Soulfly, like, you know, this is kind of like similar to that ish
Yeah.
in a way. You know, like it's bouncy, like, you know.
Dude, Bolt Thrower, because of how bouncy they are, is by far my favorite cardio band. Like, if I'm doing cardio, I need that extra gear, I put them on because it's like marching music, and the riffs just get stuck in your head.
Yeah,
I'll be humming the riff all day, and I'm like, damn it, I need to stop
yeah.
this.
It's super catchy. I would have to say Bolter is probably like one of the bigger influences on REP, if you can't tell.
Yeah,
So like,
which why wouldn't they be? They're
yeah, I
freaking
mean,
great.
you know, people. I feel like a lot of people hate on Bolter for some weird reason. Like as they get deeper into like death metal and stuff like that. But I don't know. Like I love that band, so it's cool. Like whatever,
Fuck
you know.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
they're a good
Those
listen.
yeah, fuck yeah. Those any of those bands, that's a great list right there. I can't complain with any
I
of
agree. There's a
it.
lot, like there's a lot of differences in them, like especially if you look at Carcass to
Hmm.
Entombed, like there's big differences, and there's different entry points where you could be like, I like the
Hmm.
way the guitar sounds on this, or I like this guy's vocal delivery better. I
Yeah.
like the structure of this song. So I think that really covers a lot, and really a lot of the best of death metal.
Oh yeah, I think also like a lot of these records, once like if you take it where it's at and then go backwards on in literally any of these bands,
Yeah,
you're gonna get a little bit crustier, darker,
Yeah.
faster, or something. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
And
it's gonna get
that's once you
yeah,
start diving into it, it
yeah,
really that's once you have the ear for like the for death metal, when it gets crustier like that and the production's a little less, that's like the shit that
yeah,
hell
gets me
yeah.
going.
Like one of my favorite albums production wise this year is the Vomit Fourth record, just because like
Oh, the
yeah,
for
production is
a
great.
death metal album, like it has really different and like a almost industrial type production to it, and
yeah.
it really stood out because of that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I definitely enjoyed that record. That was a great record. There was what was that other one? The Phobophilic record too. Like
Yes,
it
Yes.
had it. The production on it was like it was a little different. Like it definitely
agreed.
like kind of took me back on like maybe like an earlier Entomb sound. Like there's something about that. I was like, yo, this sounds like
Yeah,
this
and
is different production for sure.
agreed. And I think that like a lot of bands nowadays, a lot of the music is based off of like Entombed or some more American bands, where like with them you get a lot more of like a finish, like some of like Demigod, Demolich.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think so. Like it has like almost like a different twist to it. We're gonna be seeing them with 200 and Undeath pretty soon, and like when I saw them at the on that bill, I was like, dude, like that is sick. I
Yeah.
can't wait to, because that's a record I've been digging, and it's actually been in rotation. Like it's caught its way back into rotation a lot
Yeah.
more recently.
Yeah, I'll just be like going through like when I'm driving, going through my Spotify, like jump back in or whatever, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
there's that record again. Like, cool, let's put it on.
You're all,
You
let's
know,
throw that shit
yeah.
on.
That Undeath Phobophilic 200, that's like a monstrous tour. Like I wish there
Oh,
was
dude, I
somewhere
can't
over
wait.
here, but they Undeath just so they played here back in August, and then they played Memphis like a month and a half ago. So they're probably just not even trying to hit this area for a minute. So,
I
but
feel
yeah, we recently had Alex on, and we were
I listened
just
to that episode. That was, yeah, that might have
yeah,
been
we were so excited with how like going to watch that.
yeah.
We're juiced.
He's probably one of my favorite current death metal vocalists
agreed,
for
man.
sure. Like they stayed at my house, and I literally like had to like nerd out for a second with him. I was like, dude, like, I was like, you're like, first of all, like Legions, that was the
Dude.
record. That was the record that made me be like, yo, death metal's back. Like,
Dude,
Fuck
you
yeah.
know, my reference for that record is, so we went to a show. It was after the burial, the Black Dahlia murder, and Rivers of Nile and Undeath. But for whatever reason, this was like when, COVID was, more of an issue as far as like touring goes.
yeah,
So after the burial didn't play, and I'm gonna assume, somebody got sick or something. So
right.
like it messed with the schedule of the show, and we had got off work, and we got there when Rivers of Nile was playing. And as we're just kind of walking around, I was looking at the Undeath merch, and I saw the album cover, and I was like, well, I need to buy this. Never heard
Yeah.
it, bought the record. I go and I play it. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this is, you're right. Like, I was like, dude, I haven't heard like death metal like this in a minute. And so,
Yeah.
like, that album, obviously, freaking It's Time to Rise from the Grave is sick too. But that album, I know what you mean. It's like,
Yeah.
that one was just such a standout.
I think their newest record's more is like easier for people to probably get into
Yeah.
compared to Legions. Legions has like there's some very interesting parts in that record that I
Dude.
think like maybe someone who's like, it might not be a good intro for some people, like
Yeah.
trying to listen to the whole thing, because like it gets, I don't want to say experimental at all, but it definitely, there's some riffs on there that I think like,
Yeah.
you might need to have a little bit more of a tamed ear for some of it. Where on the
Yeah.
newer record, it's like, it's just fucking, just like fuck yeah, like
Yeah.
Yeah. It's some party fucking
And-
death metal, honestly.
Yeah.
And like, I think it's cool that like they're just, when you see them live and you see videos of them, like they are having such a fun time up there. And I love how like Alex does the opposite live of like, being tough up there. He's just like up
Yeah.
there laughing, making
Yeah.
jokes. Like his
yeah.
Corpse Grinder does some of that too. So I think
Mhm.
like that's a fun way of doing things. It keeps, people more interactive, I feel like, because they're like, oh, like this is just fucking cool dude who likes death metal just like me, but he's just on the stage
Yeah, partying. Yeah.
partying. There's
Like,
this part on their
respect
live
their name.
album that they just played, or that they just released, and he
Yeah.
said something like, he's like, that's fucking death metal. He's like, you
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that
what do you
shit? He's like, cause I do. I'm up here.
I need to
I'm
go
like,
listen to that. So
dude, I'm
It's
I
like,
saw that
great.
they,
sick.
like released it last night or whatever, but I haven't had a chance to go and like check it out. So that's definitely on my list for right now. It's very unfortunate. I just changed like my work van.
Mhm.
They took mine to go and fix it, and they left me with one that doesn't have Bluetooth in it.
Oh,
So,
Oh
fuck.
shit.
Like my
You
right
drive
now
with
it's-
your AirPods, bro.
Yeah, I hate it so much. I'm like, listening to music right now, like it's off until I get it back. So, but yeah, when they stay with me, I had to like just kind of nerd out and be like, yo, dude, like you are definitely one of my favorite death metal like vocalists right now. And I talked to him about whenever they were playing, I noticed he didn't cup the mic at all. And like I was like, that's tight because everyone cups the fucking mic. And I told him I also like try not to cup the mic. Just because like to me, if you can not cup the mic and you can just like straight up
Belt
just
that
do
shit
it
out.
without any other like muffle or gain or anything, then
Yeah.
it's like you can get like a truer sound. And like we just kind of talked about that for a bit, and he definitely gave me some tips and shit, and I was like, sick. So yeah,
Fuck yeah.
so but yeah, super nice
Uh,
dudes for sure.
Yeah,
Definitely.
they seem like the coolest dudes.
Well, we really appreciate your time, man. Know it's a little later out there for you.
Yeah, it's
And
all good.
like I said, huge fan of both the releases, and
Thank you.
it's great to hear that you guys are working on an LP, and that I know it's going to deliver, and I can't wait for that.
Yeah, we're definitely we don't know when that'll
Yeah.
be a thing or whatnot.
Shit, you just released the EP, so yeah,
Exactly. So like,
I feel that.
yeah, we want to give this some time to kind of, do its
Work
Let
its
thing.
way
breathe
around.
a little bit.
Yeah, but yeah, we definitely got some more stuff planned going into the new year and all that shit. So we've got like, some tours lined up. I don't think we'll be coming anywhere close to y'all anytime soon.
Hey,
Maybe
it's all good.
I have no idea, but we're definitely gonna be doing some touring coming up and shit like that. So
That's good.
Hell
That's
yeah. Well,
exciting.
hey, whenever you guys come by, we're gonna be there 100%.
Yeah,
heck
we
yeah,
wish we could make freaking Banging in the Rock, but
yeah.
our freaking company Christmas party is on that day, so on the
Oh, this
Saturday.
bastard.
So I was like, fuck. But
Yeah,
that's a hell of a show you guys are putting on. I think
yeah.
you guys are gonna freaking kill it because that lineup is just full of heavy hitters.
Oh yeah, we're excited. Like, and Stan obviously talked a little bit about it and stuff, but we literally handpicked every band to play. Like, there was like obviously like okay, there was a few bands who couldn't do it, but we
Yeah,
always right next to them. We're like, okay, well, there's this other like let's get them,
yeah,
and like every band that we wanted, every band that's playing, there's no filler band for us. Like the bands they're playing are the bands we wanted to play, which is the coolest thing to me. So
yeah,
like it just it's like we curated the fest how we wanted it, and we're just like, yo, if no one else gives a fuck, whatever. So
yeah. You're gonna go out freaking swinging.
yeah. So but it seems like a lot of people are digging it. So yeah,
Yeah, definitely. And if anyone who hasn't, check out Cycle of Cessation, another freaking hit to the Maggot Stomp releases. You guys are a young band, so I know freaking sky's the limit for you.
for sure.
We're cool, man. Well, thank you
Cool.
so much. We
Yeah.
really appreciate it, and
Yeah.
have a
Yeah,
good night.
Thanks. I appreciate
yeah,
y'all having me on.
we appreciate your time, brother.
For sure. Yeah. We'll keep in touch.
Hell yeah.
Cool.
All right.